The bikes. Where are we at with the bikes? Well, the bikes have taken up a semi-permanent residence in our living room. I mean, my family doesn't seem to mind too much. It won't be much longer. We're getting in the home stretch of things here. I have a whole bunch of strips ready to attach, and then the rest I'm gonna go kind of one by one and see how many I need, because sometimes it kind of changes from what I thought my measurements were. When you get it on and tied on, it's like sometimes a little different. But I have all the wheels covered, as you can kind of see back there. Maybe you can't. Which feels like a good accomplishment, because those are very, very long strips, even longer than I had originally estimated. I don't know, they take a long time to make. These are a lot quicker and kind of more fun because they're all the colors. And then I also figured out how to make, I don't know if you can tell, skinnier strips, because I have skinny bars on some of the bikes. Like in the back, there'll be like a thinner bar on the back wheel. On almost all of them, they have that. And then like the kickstand is thin. So there's different parts that require like almost a half strip. And so I have a special thing I learned, which I think I'm gonna make a separate video about, because I haven't seen a lot of information about this, but on my Addi machine, there's a thing you can get called an Addi stopper. And that's like a little attachment that stops the machine so you can use just a certain number of hooks without going over, because you can eyeball it, but it's very tricky, because once a hook catches one too far, it like kind of messes up the whole thing. So I'm gonna make a video about the Addi stoppers, because I found this really helpful and kind of interesting to use. It's weird if you don't really know how to do it, so that'll be a separate video. But that allowed me to make the full strips, which are about 4 inches wide, and then the little baby strips that are more like 1.5 or 2 inches stretched. So that was my main concern, is like the big strips are too big for the thin bars of the bike. Anyway, the project is getting there. I'm going to start tying these on and then just making one bar at a time. I've also made all these little sticky notes for each bike with a little terrible diagram with like this bike needs five stripes plus three stripes and two stripes, and then the pedals are this big, the brakes and the kickstands. I just have all the parts listed out, so I at least kind of have an idea of what I have left, and I'm checking them off as I go. But it gets kind of confusing, because then I'm like, I made this for one of the bars and then it fits actually better on a different bike. So I am kind of making them as I go, because I'm finding out some of them are like a perfect fit on one bike and not the other. So yeah, it's like a make it work situation, but it's working. And it's gonna be so cute. Look at these amazing colors. For these, I have some donated yarn that was like some random colors, but not all the colors were like, I mean, it was just kind of some random. So I bought a pack, and that's how I got all these good ones. I bought a pack of, I think it's called Brava from Knit Picks, and it was like a multi-pack of every basic color, like a crayon box of all the good basic colors that you need, a good, you know, primary colors, a little bit of everything. So then I get like a really nice mix and can really make this look nice. I'm kind of type A in particular, so like the donated yarn was great because I've got like the red and the blue and some of them, but then I had like a whole bunch of red and blue and navy in one bag, and then a whole bunch of pastels in another bag, and they just didn't quite, like I needed to bridge the gaps, so I got these other fun colors to make it all cohesive. And now I have like some really fun stripy colors. And then the bike wheels, if you can kind of see, I did black and white, and then I ran out of black and white and I did one bike in like green and black. So it's a little bit like Beetlejuice vibes, but it's going really well. I'm really excited. Then Lotus, who's like a crochet whiz, she's amazing. She made some flowers, crochet flowers, and I'm pretty sure, I think these are gonna be perfect for the seats. So I'm gonna make seat covers that are probably gonna be crochet kind of a triangle shape off of this and have this be on the seat. So I've got 3 of these, one for each bike. And so she like really helped me out with that. So that was awesome. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I think I'm gonna start tying some of these on. I kind of do a mixture of like sewing and tying, and then I tuck the ends inside. It does not have to be perfect, but I want it to look nice and as smooth as it can. So the wheels honestly took quite a while. I thought I'd just like slap it on and like hook it together and make some knots, but it was more complicated than I thought because of the spokes and going in between each one and making it evenly stretched around the wheels. And each bike has a different size tire. Like one of them is more of a mountain bike. This one's a little skinnier, and then the one right behind me is like the skinniest. So I just tried to make it happen for all the bikes. But anyway, I'm gonna get going on covering. Okay, bike number 1 is almost done. And it's taken a lot of work, hours and hours. It does not maybe seem like it. And I know I'm using the knitting machine to help me. And if I didn't have that machine, this would not be possible. This would take like a year of hand knitting. I don't even know how to get this nice, neat stockinette that's so solid. Without a knitting machine, I wouldn't even attempt. Even with the knitting machine, it's a lot of yarn, a lot of work, and sewing it on is maybe the most time-consuming part, which I thought would be the fastest part. It's not turning out to be the fastest part, but it's super fun. And it's only because I'm being a little bit picky because I want it to be smooth and lay the best that it can. And so I'm using each end of each stripe to sew back and forth, not at the ends, tuck the ends under and move on to the next stripe. I'm sure I'm gonna get asked, like, are you kitchenering these? Are you seaming it nicely like you would seam a sweater? And the answer is no. No, I'm not, because time is running out. I've had these 3 bikes for almost a month that I've been working on all this. And just getting the tires covered took a long time. All 3 bikes have their tires covered, and then now I'm doing all the rest. But I do not have time to Kitchener or seam it perfectly or any of those things that I would normally do on my normal knitting. So please don't ask me like, oh, you could do that, you know, much neater. I know. Believe me, I know, and I have the skills, I know how to do it, but I do not have time. I am just quickly like 3rd grade stitching these, you know, very elementary back and forth stitches. I'm, you know, trying to make it look pretty good and all the yarn matches its stripe that I'm seaming with. It's fine. These are gonna sit outside. I do not know what's gonna happen to them. There is a small chance that these could get stolen, or I have no idea. So am I doing it perfectly? No. Am I still doing it a little overboard, type A perfectionist? Maybe. But look how good it looks. So these 2 of the bikes have black and white tires. This is the first one. This one is like the 90s bike that was like blue and pink. And this is the bike with the bigger, it's maybe the 2nd biggest bike, but it has the most little parts on it that I have to cover. So I did the little, the pedal bars even. I've covered these little weird things that stick out, and there's like a little bar in the back with like a screw coming out of it that I covered. I'll show you this in a minute, but I wasn't gonna do all that, but then when I saw this, I was like, I have to kind of do it, just get all the little things covered. My favorite thing that I've done so far is this. There was a little cute reflector here on the front, and now I've made it into almost like a little headlight. This brings me joy. Wow, that doesn't look, it looks very lumpy in the picture. Okay, so I, through the trial and error of making all these pieces, have figured out kind of how to make little covers for these type of things. So if I made a, let's see, how do I explain this? The way that these strips work when you make a strip on a knitting machine is you can kind of cast on and bind off so that the bind off piece of yarn and the cast on piece of yarn, you can pull on them and it will cinch the top and the bottom. So I literally made a little rectangle that was yellow, cinched the top around, cinched the bottom around, tied it in the back. I don't know if you can see my little threads here. And then I'll just weave these in, and it's like a little whoop in the back, like a little circle. Like it just tied in on itself. I tied the ends together, and then it made a little cinched, smooth, nice little adorable cover for this reflector. Was that necessary? No, but is it so cute? Yes. And then I did the little bar around this, and I tried to get this, and these pieces are very weird shaped, so I just tried to cover it the best that I could. It's not perfect, but I'm doing my best because it's like worth it to me. So now I made another rectangle, and I'll show you what they looked like before. So this is gonna go on the back reflector, and it's literally, it looks, you know, you always make it wider than it needs to be, and then you just put it on, cinch the top and bottom, and it comes around it like magic. So like, you see here, if I pull, it cinches, and then you can like put something in it. So this is gonna go on the little rectangle one in the back. Let me turn it around so you can see. Right here, I will be, since it's red, I'm gonna cover it with red. And look how cute that will be. Like, I can't. It's so cute. And then each wheel has a little rectangular reflector that I might cover too at the end, but we'll see, because it's really not necessary. But I think after this, minus the seat, I'll be done with this bike after I put on this. So I'm getting there. I have to keep going while my like momentum is going. So it's the weekend right now, and I'm going to try to get as much as I can done on the other 2 bikes today and tomorrow, because then our week gets crazy again and I'm running out of time. But I'm in good shape. I'm in a good spot. I can do this. It's still very doable. This just all took a lot longer than I had anticipated, but doesn't everything with knitting? Honestly. Anyway, it's really fun. I just want to give you a little update on where I am, and hopefully I can get these other 2 bikes started. Sounds good. Time to work on bike number 2. Okay, I am wrapping up, literally, bike number 2. I got a lot of this done last night. Number 1 is totally done except for the seat. This will be done except for the seat. This is for the handlebars. I just did little breaks, which is hilarious. And then I saved the smallest bike for last, and I'm gonna try to get that done today. And it's not that much smaller, but in my mind, it's like less knitted strips. My arm is totally getting tired and a little bit numb today, so I'm gonna try to take it easy. But these are looking so fun. I'm so happy with how this is all turning out. I'm really excited to see the 3 of them together. I'm gonna take a whole bunch of pictures, and then we will be scouting out sites next week, I think, or maybe this week, to see where these bikes are gonna end up down in Ingersoll. And then we'll be taking them down there and setting them up wherever they end up. There's a fence that's a possibility. There's like some bike corrals that are a possibility. And if I have enough time, I'm gonna be making covers for bike racks, but we'll see. I'm gonna need a break after this, and I have a big work week ahead and some other knitting stuff I need to get done. So we will see what I have time for, but let's get these handlebars covered at least. And then on to bike number 3. Okay, this is bike number 3. Bikes number 1 and 2 are totally done back there except for the seats. I have a different plan for the seats, so I'm going to do the seats all together to make sure that it actually works. It's a little tricky, but this is the last bike I have to yarn bomb today. This I hope to get done by tonight. And this is the smallest bike. This is a nice little 80s Schwinn. Like the Schwinns and Huffies we rode in the 80s. This makes me feel like very nostalgic and very like E.T. riding your bikes around the block in the 80s with your friends. This is a fun one. So I'm gonna cover this one today, then I'll be closer to being done, tackle the seats this week, and then we should be in good shape. Let's get started. I'm getting super close to finishing the bike project, but this whole time I've been trying to think of the best way to cover the seats, and my family keeps saying, oh, it's fine, you don't have to cover the seats, but the seats are in pretty rough shape. Like 2 of them are black, 1 of them's white. The seats have to be covered. Everything else is covered. The kickstand is covered, like the seats are getting covered. So I looked on Ravelry and there's actually a couple of crochet bike seat cover patterns, but both of them, it looked like the links were broken or they weren't available anymore. And I think what I'm gonna do is use my bigger Addi knitting machine to knit kind of a square rectangle shape and kind of use the same technique that I did for the little reflector on the front of the one bike where I cinch it around. And I think like it might not be perfect, but it will cover the seat, tie it underneath, sort of tuck in the extra parts, and we'll just see how that works. And let me show you this. Lotus earlier, maybe I showed you in an earlier video, crocheted these little flowers. See, I have them sitting on the seats right now just for fun. She made all these little crochet flowers, and I thought the seats need to have the crochet flowers. So I'm going to knit these rectangles, hopefully on my big Addi, the Addi King, because the other one's too small. It's too narrow, and I don't want to seam the things together because they don't quite. It's kind of hard with the edges, the way they come out. So let's just give this a try. So you can see here, this is my Addi Express machine, and this is the machine I was using to make the panels to cover the tires and the bike bars and everything, and the handlebars and all that stuff. And then This is my Addi King, and you can see the difference. Quite a big difference. So it's so funny, after using the little machine for so long and then switching to this, it's like, whoa, this is huge. But this used to be the only one I ever used, so I used to be really used to this. But this is the perfect size for hats, and it looks even bigger. I mean, that's my hand for reference. But you know, these stretch out the stitches this way, and then when you take it off the machine, it kind of cinches up, contracts. So I still made a little test panel, and it was a little bit too big for the seats. So I kind of am guessing, and then used my Addi stoppers that I used before, these little thingies, there it is, to just use a portion of this. And I'm gonna see if this is big enough for at least one of the seats. Then I can kind of see if the other seats need to be a different number of stitches, because each seat is different. There's one that's super triangular, there's some that are longer and some that are smaller. So I'm just gonna see with a little test one, and then put the flower on top and see if it looks normal, cinch it up, like kind of sew it underneath, and see if that does the trick. Update, I think the seat thing is going to work. I made 3 different little seat covers that are rectangles, left long tails on them, and then when you pull the tails, it cinches the end shut. Can I demonstrate? So like this will cinch around the front of the seat, and this will cinch around the back, I think. And so I'm going to stitch these on. I think this one fits best on this wider, shorter seat, and the blue one fits best on the longer white seat. And then, if this works, I'm going to stitch Lotus's little flowers on top of each one. Although I did think about putting them here. We'll have to see what looks better. That's kind of hard to attach though. I think it's cute on the seats. And then I think I'll be done. Let's see, so that looks good with that. This kind of looks good with that. This looks good with that. Is this a good plan? Let's hope so. Okay, behold. The seamless, smooth, beautiful seat cover that I cannot even believe is looking so nice. This was the one part of the whole bike I was the most nervous about, because I was like, how am I gonna cover the seat in a way that it looks good? And so I'm just going back and forth with my darning needle, sewing back and forth under the seat. And I already did the back half, and then where this meets with the other tail right here, I'm just gonna tie a knot underneath, and it's totally secure because under these seats is all like the rough edges and the little springy things, and so it's totally gonna stay, and it looks so nice. Like, do I need to make these for all of our bikes? It's so cute. I'm so excited with how this turned out. So my plan worked. The seats are covered, the flowers are on, and I cannot believe that these bikes are totally done. The bikes are done. They're done. They're totally done. I'm done. I'm gonna take a nap. The bike project is done. I'm so excited. I just wanted to do a little bike wrap-up video before I take them out of my living room and get them downtown to Ingersoll Avenue, where I'm going to install them, I believe, on a fence along Ingersoll Avenue for RAGBRAI, the bike ride across Iowa, which is next week. So I definitely finished in time with a little bit of time to spare, which I'm so glad. I really pushed myself last weekend to get this done so I wouldn't be stressed out at the last minute, because this is a very time-consuming project. That is what I discovered. You know how you think in your mind, oh, this will just be quick. I can just, cover these bikes and it'll be an easy little weekend project. It was not that quick, but really, really fun. I'm so happy I stuck with it and agreed to help out with this. There's still one more bike that might be being covered by a few people at the Avenues of Des Moines. I think they have another bike that they are covering in the last minute strips that we get this week that were donated in our bin at Chain and Spoke. So there might be a fourth or fifth bike, but we will see. But I want to get these 3 done, and you can't really do this much last minute, so I knew I just had to start on it right away. So this whole project took me a little under a month to do, and that includes making all the strips and sewing them all on, and like measuring and getting the bikes and all that stuff. So that took a month, which is pretty good, I think. And there's no way I could have ever done this without my Addi knitting machines. There's no way that I could possibly knit this many strips by hand in a month and then cover everything. It's impossible. So the only way this happened in this time frame is my Addi Express, the small knitting machine, and then my Addi King, the bigger one that I used for the seat covers. And I love, love, love how it turned out. I love the multicolored stripes, and almost all of this yarn, there was some of it that was donated from the donation bin, but I had to start before I got that yarn. So I bought, I think it's like a maybe 30 skein or 25 skein multi-pack of Brava yarn from Knit Picks, and that's how I got this rainbow of colors, because without these different brights and neutrals and lights, I think it wouldn't have looked as good. You really need a mix of a lot of colors to make it look like color book bright, not rainbow, but like a mix of everything. So I'm really happy with how all the stripes turned out, and they were really fun. It was just fun to pick colors. I let the kids pick colors. Lotus did a little bit of cranking for me, Bowie did a little bit of stitching for me, and then Lotus did these flowers that I put on the seats, and without them it would have looked really plain, I think. So this has really come together in the best way, and I'm really excited to see it come together right now, and then to go attach these to a fence. I have some super strong zip ties I'm going to use. Bo's going to help me get the bikes down there, and I think we're going to just have an install day next week before RAGBRAI rolls through Des Moines, and then I hope bikers come and see them and take pictures maybe, or come check them out on the way on their route through the city. And so I hope people enjoy them. Am I gonna be like a full-time yarn bomber now? No. But this was a super fun project. I'm just super excited that I got to be part of this project, and that I kind of tried something new to me. I mean, I'd had a little bit of yarn bombing experience before, but nothing like this, and I've never covered bikes before, so really fun. Really happy to see it done, and really excited to see what it looks like down in Ingersoll for RAGBRAI. Thank you for watching my bike yarn bombing adventure. I hope you've had fun hanging out with me as I cover these bikes in yarn. It's been super fun. I hope this was like a fun thing to watch, or maybe it'll be helpful in case you ever have to do something like this. But yeah, thank you for watching. Thanks for hanging out. It means a lot. I like to share the journey with you, so hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe if you like my videos. Click the notifications bell if you want to see what's coming up next. You never know what it'll be. I don't know either. But thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.